And let's begin with breaking news that's coming in. US President Donald Trump has had a conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European Union leaders just days before Trump is set to meet with Putin at what's being deemed as a peace meeting in Alaska. Now, Trump and Zelensky have had a conversation via phone call. Trump has said that it was a very good call. In Trump language, he says, I rate it a 10 on 10. Now, Trump has also claimed, while asked on his peace meeting, which will be happening in Alaska with Putin, he says there's a good chance of a second meeting taking place. So he says that in that case, there will be a meeting with Zelensky as well, in which case it becomes a triangular meeting of Putin, Zelensky and Trump coming together if, Trump says, the Alaska meeting goes well. Trump also saying that Russia will face consequences if the war is not stopped. This is, in fact, the message that's gone across from Donald Trump. Let me bring in Shivani Sharma for more details. So on this, Shivani, days to go, of course, for that meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. And while US made it very clear that there's no room for Zelensky to be a part of that meeting, we understand there's been a conversation between Trump and Zelensky today.
Certainly, Akshita, there's a build-up to the meeting of Donald Trump and President Putin. And before this meeting, Donald Trump has spoken to the European leaders and also President Zelensky, and he's called it a good call, Akshita. He said that it was a very good call, and we know that Zelensky is out of a meeting between the U.S. President and the Russian President that has to happen on 15th of August. And probably this meeting will be deciding the future of the ongoing war that has now come up to the fourth year continuously. So this was the conversation that has taken place, and we know that Donald Trump has been trying to mediate peace between Russia and Ukraine. There's been no success yet because both the countries have been keeping their own conditions. But after today's call and the meeting with President Putin, it will be decided that what comes for these two countries. But certainly this was a conversation that was held between Zelensky and US President Donald Trump.
All right, Shivani, thanks very much for joining us with those details. It sets the stage essentially for that meeting, which will take place between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in just 2 days from now on 15th of August in Alaska is where that meeting will happen. And just before that, Trump has spoken to Zelensky as well as leaders of the European Union. Important to highlight here that the EU tried really hard and pushed for Zelensky to be a part of the Alaska meet. But Donald Trump said no way, there's going to be no representation by Ukraine in that meeting, that it will be a direct US-Russia talk. Listen in to what Trump has said.
We had a very good call. He was on the call. President Zelensky was on the call. I would rate it a 10, very, very friendly. I know the leaders because I was at NATO, as you know. I took it from 2% to 5%, 2% that wasn't paid, 5% that is paid, which is trillions of dollars in defense capability. No, it was always going to be, I was going to meet with President Putin, and then after that, I'm going to call the leaders and President Zelensky. I'm going to call President Zelensky, and then I'll call, probably in that order, the leaders. There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first, because the first is I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing. If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work. But the first meeting will not work that out. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting.